Hey guys, StarCraft here, and still working on the Rock Puck Jesus video, so figured, you know what, it's going to take me a bit of a while. Why don't I just get my other two inaugural videos for what I think about topics out of the way while I'm working on it. So this is the one I really wanted to talk about. This one I have a lot to say, though this might end up being a long one as well. But while given the title of the show, insert something here from the multiverse. I'm a big fan of multiversal stories, just the grand scheme of parallel universes and all that. And my topic has a lot to do with the DC Multiverse, and some could say the original multiverse in general. I'm going to be talking about, initially, the Scott Snyder's recent creation, Perpetua, the mother of the multiverse. I'm also going to be talking about her three sons, the World Forger, but more importantly, the two initial brothers from Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Monitor or the Over Monitor, and the Anti-Monitor or Mobius. And hold on one second. Sorry about that. I had to fix the lighting, but yeah, I love so many of these ideas. This Snyder, what he's done with Perpetua and the World Forger, tying them into the Crisis and the original Crisis duo brothers, really, I just love so much. And Crisis on Infinite Earths is one of the first books I ever read. So, I mean, and I understood it. I got a lot of it. So seeing all these characters, well, I'm going to be gushing about each and all of them. But let's start right away with the Monitor, which probably is also the least amount to say, since he probably has the least screen time overall. The Monitor, introducing Crisis on Infinite Earths, originally meant to be the librarian in Marv Wolfman's eyes. He was kind of one of those characters who was introduced to reveal what's going on, then having to die right when they need him. And he did. And the funny thing is, him and his brother stayed dead. But when the Anti-Monitor came back in Sinestro Corps War, the Over Monitor mostly stayed dead. Even when they brought back a whole bunch of them during Final Crisis, it was either implied that the original Monitor was Mandrax, the evil Monitor, or it just wasn't him. Personally, between you and me, I'm glad that the other Monitors have mostly been forgotten and wiped out by Morrison. Seriously. There's a reason why Linkar made a joke of, we should do something. Should we do something? Showing how pointless they were. At least Mandrax had been used again. But the funny thing is, Snyder would bring him back during Dark Knight's Metal in a way I did not expect. And again, little we know that it would actually be implied what will be coming up down the line, and we actually would get a name for the Monitor, and that was Mar-Nova. Novu, and I like the name, and yeah, we'll be getting more back to him in a little bit. Just a moment. Sorry. But yeah, and then we get the big one. The one that's the ultimate villain in all of the DC Universe, in my opinion, and one of my favorite enemies, the Anti-Monitor. Later revealed by Jeff Johns, and I love how Scott Snyder and James Tynion actually continued on with it as Mobius, the original owner of Metron of the New Gods Mobius chair. The Monitor, he's one of those villains who, he's the generic doomsday bad guy who just wants to destroy things because he just wants to expand his universe. But at the same time, and again, I'll be getting into how this has been fleshed out later on, but at the same time, he's just one of those characters that just oozes this evilness that you don't care that he's generic. You actually just love to see this guy. Maybe because of the awesome designs for him, both the more detailed and simplified design of the original Crisis, but he's just one of those characters where he did this so much devastation, wiped out so many other universes that people always knew that he was one of the greatest enemies. To the point where when he returned and made his big appearance in this Sinestro Corps War, his first appearance alive since the Crisis, everyone was like, oh shit. And the fact that he was back, and Jeff Johns would utilize him for quite a while, still keep it connected with the Green Lantern, how he would be killed off and then used in the Black Lantern battery, and then later utilized in Brightest Day to a degree, and all that. It showed that he was still a proper villain. And yes, unfortunately, he was sometimes used as a case of, oh, we need to show how powerful our new threat is by having him taken care of, but deep down, he's still a dangerous threat. To the point where, when he then would pop up again during Forever Evil, my jaw dropped. I was so looking forward to it. Then you had the Darkseid War, and I'm a bit torn on that. I think overall it was a great story with some very good concepts, and how Mobius, the Antimatter, wanted to go back to his original infected, with the antimatter's form of Mobius. Although, given things we find out later, that may be a misconception in his eyes. But either way, and then he wants to deal with Darkseid to cause another crisis and all that stuff. I should do like how they said they acknowledge calling them crisis, and that they rewrite the universe and all that stuff. I do like that. And I decided just, for a moment you feel bad for him, but then you find out, oh no, once he's back to being Mobius, he's even worse than he was as the Anti-Monitor. Because basically he just wanted to get back to how he was, but still be a conqueror. And again, I just thought so much of it was interesting, and we still have he's still utilized to a degree. And again, I'll be going into more detail after I just do these brief summaries, but then you have the World Forger, the character that Scott Snyder introduced during Dark Knight's Metal, who ended up forging worlds that would be utilized in the multiverse. Now, he was dead by the time of Dark Knight Metal, and his assistant, for lack of a better term, Barbados, the Bat God, had killed him and was letting all these worlds continue existing and dying. But, how he's been utilized recently in the Sixth Dimension arc has been very fascinating. And again, I'll get into more details, but again, he's one of the newest. But just his concept alone is very interesting, and how he's been utilized. Then you have Perpetua herself. And through that was her, let's just get into talking about how in, Justice League number 22 of the recent stuff, James Tynion IV, with obviously plots from Scott Snyder, trying to give us the true first origin of the multiverse, and the very first crisis, which one actually explains when Brian Michael Bendis mentioned how there was so many crises that people were like, wait, what? But we knew that little note, and I actually liked that. But Perpetua, she was tasked throughout. First you have the multiverse, then you have the omniverse. And basically the multiverse that we know of, the main DC multiverse, is part of the larger omniverse, and Perpetua, she was meant to create it. But she knows she answers to the source or somehow to a higher power, and basically she was either supposed to move on to another multiverse to create, or perish after she was no longer needed. But she decided instead she didn't want that. She wanted to keep on living. So instead, she also first creates her sons, the three brothers. Alpheus, that's the World Forger, Marnovu, the Overmonitor, and Mobius, the Anti-Monitor. Their purpose? It's already said, the World Forger, as she puts it, I set to you to work in the dark beneath creation. You will be a mighty World Forger and populate all that is and will ever be. In other words, he was in the Dark Multiverse where all these worlds would be forged. The Overmonitor, he would be in the Positive Matter universe. You will monitor the universes that rise into your world or an orrery. You will see to their development and prevent any crises that may arise between them. And then the Anti-Monitor, he will be in the Antimatter universe. He will guard the boundaries of creation, keeping them free of life. Why? So they don't go off into the other multiverse. He was basically the barrier, keeping them all connected. And all this is done in the Sixth Dimension, where they would look down and basically should they die, they would be reborn up there and all that. And but yeah, you basically have births, life, and deaths. That's what they each represent. And Perpetua, she tasked them all. And yeah, they call her mother, and things seem to be going very well until the Monitor finds out how their mother, he realizes, studying the other multiverses, this one's different. She's acting different, and she's making an army of human Martian hybrids ready to attack. And, well, she basically threatens him, and she was, at the point she was said, like, why should I die when while these damn fools live on for eternity? And well, soon, 200,000 years later, the three brothers decide to contact the source, and they are to discipline Perpetua. And they do, sealing her away behind the source wall, which will be the boundary to the entire multiverse. But unfortunately, Mobius realizes because of that, he has no purpose. Now that the source wall does what his unit, the antimatter universe, was meant to do, he will just serve a wasteland, while his brother's world will just keep on expanding more and more. Thus, after all this is done and the universe is starting to reform, and a day will be born on Quard and Oa, which is what we know of it originally supposed to be, he basically, Mobius clings on to his hatred for his brother. Even when they're reborn, completely forget most of it, he still clings on to it. That's why things go on the way we know it to be. And yeah, that was a way of explaining, introducing all these concepts in a way that still makes sense, and then leads into what we would have and what we would find out how things would go in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and revealing that crises are a regular thing in the DC universe. It's not something that just happened with Crisis on Infinite Earths. That was just the second crisis. The first one was this. And then, again, just the ideas that Perpetua, she's evil because she believes doom is the emphasis of everything. Whereas her sons, even Mobius to a degree, believes in justice. The two of the main factors that make up each of the multiverses. And, well, now that she's back, she wants to make sure she's not captured again. And while the Over-Monitor is returned, we haven't seen much of him. The Anti-Monitor is just a brain. A astral brain or something. Because he did die in Darkseid War. And I don't know if they have plans to bring him back. But the World Forger, he's back. And he, since the Over-Monitor is not seeming to be doing much, the World Forger is trying to make sure things go well and that they can stop whatever his mother has planning from happening. And he's definitely by any means necessary type of being, but what do you expect when you sit above everything else? And yeah, so far he's an asshole, but an asshole where you understand his meanings. Probably why Batman's teaming up with him right now. But yeah, I have just been loving all this stuff. And this is going about shorter than I thought it was, but just all this stuff that Snyder's introduced. All of this. How Perpetua, the mother of the DC Multiverse, believes in doom, and thus meaning more on the villain side of things. And again, we just find out so much more. We actually give the Anti-Monitor more depth. How he had purpose, but thanks to the action of his brother, he lost that purpose, and he wanted to make sure he and his brother paid for his actions. That makes him way more than the one-dimensional generic doomsday villain. Kind of still throws question his action in Darkseid War to a degree, especially as we see his original look was how he's supposed to look. It was never what Mobius was, so I don't get that. Again, unless that's how things played out in this when they were reborn. But yeah, you have all of that. And again, they're still building up with Perpetua. I'm still looking forward to what Snyder's doing. And the World Forger, again, I like it. I'm hoping the Anti-Monitor returns, and I hope the Over-Monitor does more. But everything just felt so perfect at explaining things. And again, I love explaining mythology. And I never thought they would do more with these outside what Jeff Johns did with the Antimatter. But no, Scott Snyder's done way more than even Jeff Johns has done. Because he actually did world building. And again, just the idea of you have the positive matter universe, the antimatter universe, and the dark matter universe, all serving a purpose. Because again, when you introduce people, it's like, oh, what's all this? And then now we see, oh. Again, just so many explanations are given. And at the same time, it doesn't contradict stuff like, wait, does that mean there's no God? No. Who knows what's within the source? And obviously, Perpetua does answer to another power. And I'm rambling by this point, I know. But yeah, I'm just so enjoying all of these. I'm really liking it. And yeah, I can't wait to see where else this is going. And I really hope that Perpetua ends up being a more, just as beloved of a villain as Mobius or the Antimatter is. So yeah, that's all I have to say here. Probably get to doing my other what I think about. But if I don't, I'm not going to spoil. So tune in tomorrow as I do whatever I do tomorrow. Till then, catch you guys later.